forward. So, any updates or check-ins that y'all would like to offer? How ideas around how's the Easter season going? Have y'all started looking towards summer planning? Um, you know, even thoughts around VBS, or if you have a day school, what are some of the considerations that you're starting to consider, or others in your area, or if none of those things, what's on your heart and mind? How are y'all doing?
I can tell you, I'm Carol Bias. I'm at St. Michael and All Angels, and I missed the last meeting, but popped in at the very end and did very much enjoy being able to look back over what you guys had discussed, and got a lot of great ideas from that. At St. Michael's, we're doing something pretty much every day online. We're having like a Zoom family worship with our smallest children, families with small children, on the Sunday mornings. And then I'm trying to put a little family devotional activity in that gives them an activity they can do around what the gospel reading was for that week. And it's mainly like it's not a video, it's just like a document with an activity idea. Like we did Where's Jesus? And we suggested that they play hide and seek and discuss how were they afraid when they couldn't see their parent that was hiding, and that type of thing. So that's been well received by our families. And then every other day of the week, we've got just a little something. Our intern, Chris Johnson, is doing something called Carpenter's Brew on Monday nights, which is obviously focused to adults. And he's just sharing insights into different readings. We've got some people doing evening prayer on various evenings. I am videotaping our godly play lesson, which is our Sunday school curriculum. I'm just doing a video of that, which is not ideal, obviously, but has been also well received. And then we have somebody doing a Holy Rosary, teaching, showing how to use the Rosary on Thursday nights. And then our music, this has been really well received. Our music director has been doing a hymn of the day, and she's been doing a lot of them, or she's been getting members of the congregation to send in a video of a hymn of the day, and that's been really well received. I had a Zoom meeting with the EYC. We have a very small group of all our seniors graduated, and so now we have only about 4 teens in our EYC group, but we had a little Zoom meeting just to check in with them last Sunday. And other things, with our early learning center, I'm doing a story time. Our music director is doing preschool music lesson every week on Fridays. So that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, you're generating a lot of content and worship opportunities. How do you feel that level of content has been received by your parish?
I think it's been well received. We have been doing a video for the Sunday worship, and I think the file may be too large or something, and we're having a lot of technical difficulty with that particular piece of content, the worship service. And so we're really struggling with that, because as soon as it starts freezing up, people are like, goodbye. It seems better if they watch it later in the day, but we were trying to watch it as like a watch party so that we could put in prayer requests and whatnot. But that has been frustrating, and a lot of the congregation members are not happy about that. We have a really large older population, and we've tried to give them some tech hints as to different ways that they can view the content on our Weekly Guardian, which is on MailChimp. We have links to all the things that we're doing, so that if they're not on Facebook, they can reach it. But I know that my Godly Play lessons have been well received and shared to other places in South Carolina and in other places in the United States. And
Carol, can I just stop you there and
Yeah.
ask a question? In fact, that's what I was thinking. We have about 5 families, so not a lot of kids, but the ones we have are really committed, and they're all elementary school age. Well, I mean, we do have some older kids, but the population I'm wondering about is elementary school age. And I was going to ask you, are you willing to share the video or have me take a look at it and see if it would work for
Absolutely.
And is that on your
Absolutely.
Facebook page or?
It is on our Facebook page. And then a lot of times I'll share it with our Early Learning Center page, and I'll share it on my page so that, people that I know that don't go to my church can look at it. But absolutely, I'd be glad to share those personally with you, or you can get them from our page.
Okay. Yeah. I'll look up your email address and maybe connect with you directly about that. Because I've been wanting to find ways to connect with the families, and I'll do kind of inconsistently. Just Vicar Debbie has some musings about today's lesson for families and children. And it's just me sitting here in this chair, just kind of talking, about the road to Emmaus and I'm not familiar with Godly Play. I've just never served in a church that used it. So I'd love to gain that familiarity as well.
Yeah, right now I'm doing a series called A New Way of Knowing Jesus. And it's like each Sunday it goes through. Last Sunday was the road to Emmaus, and this Sunday was Thomas, the doubting Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely, I'd love to share those with anybody. I don't know if there's some place I can post them that everyone here can access.
Yeah, we could definitely put it as a resource link on the Formation resources online.
Somebody just put the link to our Facebook page, and they are there. But if you have any trouble, I'll be glad to. I'm Formation I'll put my email in here.
Yeah, we'll get a solid link that people can utilize some of your content and put it on the Formation link. Caitlin, can you put that up on the chat too, so people know?
I think she has.
Oh no, the EDUSC.
Okay, yeah.
I sent out an email asking those 5 families if they'd be interested themselves in recording a Sunday lesson, to share with everybody. And they're all, excited about it. But I'll be honest with you, our families are really busy at home trying to keep a routine and keep up with the schoolwork. And so I'm not sure. Although they like the idea, I got the sense that it might just be sort of one more thing that they'd love to be able to do, but it could be a burden for them. So.
Thanks, Carol.
No problem.
Anybody else have something they'd like to share in terms of checking in?
If I might pose a question to kind of guide this conversation, kind of echoing what you just asked, Jimmy, we've been in this for a little over a month now. I'm interested in hearing, I think we talked a little bit about this last week, but I think it's also just a helpful question to keep checking in with is how how are things being received by the people that we're ministering to? How are we feeling about what we're offering? What kind of feedback are y'all hearing?
Well, I can start us off with something that I've been trying to figure out for myself and my ministries is that I think when we all started this a month ago, there was a lot of excitement about continuing to offer what we were already offering of like, okay, we were doing this normally, we're just going to do it online now. And I think at the beginning, like the first couple of weeks, people were really excited about that, of still getting to see their friends and still getting to connect and like keep those routines the same. But I mean, I know that my routines have changed as a person, like now that we've been in this for kind of a while, and that I've seen a drop off in things like EYC, which is like a fun fellowship kind of thing. Like the stuff that was like lighter, I think people have dropped off from because they just don't really have the time, or they just didn't build it into their schedule, or they've lost interest. And there are certainly some things that are like sticking together, like Bible studies, and like some of those smaller, like more dedicated fellowship groups are still interested in the offerings. But I think the fringe people who are sometimes involved and sometimes not involved have really dropped off, for me at least. I guess if they've like lost the shine of this new time in our lives. So I'd love to hear if you guys have also experienced that, or if like you saw that and then were able to loop people back in, or just kind of start that conversation.
I can speak to that. We've been doing EYC since week 2. We didn't start on it right away because it was too hectic that first Sunday. And it's been really fun. I thought pretty much there was one that I was like, this was the worst and I just want to be done. But for the most part, it's been okay. And but I've noticed that the high schoolers sort of can't deal with and don't want to deal with the middle school thing of like, stay on mute when she tells you to be on mute. And like the dynamic of it over Zoom is a lot harder than the dynamic of high school and middle school in real life for me. And so we started high school hangout on Tuesdays and then also middle school mashup on Thursdays. And high school hangout has been very successful. We start with like a 15-minute check-in, and then I pose a question, and the questions are different each week. Like this past week, it was, if you could have a dinner party with 5 people around a table, who would you pick and why? And that took us like 20 minutes to do. And we're getting like 6 to 8 high schoolers for that. And normally we have 4 to 8 high schoolers at in-person EYC. And so I think that there is a part of some high schoolers who, and we do it at 8 p.m., which I think is part of the key, is that it's a late night thing. It's not like when their parents would be telling them to do homework or when they might want to be outside. The day is kind of done. And that's been really successful. The middle school one has not been, because the middle schoolers are all coming to EYC, I think. And so there's only a handful, but I'm going to continue doing it for them because they like it. And we do have a few more sort of serious middle schoolers, but it's been very helpful to do just the high school thing.
Yeah. Is
Jimmy, I have found, and kind of the same with what Maggie is saying, we do a Tuesday morning, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds in kindergarten, and I have found that 9 o'clock time for that young age has worked great, but I have definitely found if I just send a quick text at about 8:30 that morning to the moms or dads, they're on it. So same thing with Sunday mornings. We're doing a 9:15 Accent Easter, and that's anywhere from 3-year-olds through 5th grade and the families, and that's been huge. That time, I'm just saying that time, not content, I don't know, but that time frame, that 9:15 on Sunday mornings before we do church, has been kind of the sweet spot for a lot of families. So sending just a quick reminder, even though it's in my week, I do a weekly e-blast with all the Zoom links, and I just send out one email a week, and that is it, because these poor mamas are getting emails on top of emails and are losing Zoom links, and as you know, probably. But just sending that one, and then if they text me to say, oh, I've lost it, I can just quickly send that again. So I don't know whether that helps.
Yeah. You know, one thing that that my kids have been doing, one of the parents of my fourth grader set up a website that that allowed them to put in the different links and Zoom links throughout the day. And so they obviously did it for, you know, their Heathwood stuff, but then you could do, you know, you can maybe submit a different Zoom call, things like that. So, you know, using the classroom piece, although, you know, somewhat different than the context that y'all are in, but as a family ministry component, maybe that's something to consider as well. Is how might you be able to help parents to have some sort of organization, you know, and things like that. You know, for me, being reminded 15 minutes before the Zoom call, like of course I don't need a 2-week reminder, right? Like, because I'm going to be in my living room 2 weeks from now, or 2 weeks ago, as much as I am 15 minutes from now. So yeah, so I think the kind of live time reminders, that's a really good idea. So what else is happening?
We just started at St. James. I was talking with a lot of parents, and we started this like 3rd through 5th grade girls, like little hour at most kind of hangout devotional time on we're using Zoom for it, but it's been really fun because I've got pretty active participation. It's what I was told, is that, you know, their parents are needing like just to be like, go do this thing while I can like go do my work, and then you can be, you know, like have something to do. But then beyond that, for these group of girls, like eventually they'll be in youth ministry together. So to start earlier on with kind of building that trust in those relationships will be huge, and be able to impact the way that they grow and learn when they're in the youth ministry. They're also just super goofy and funny. So it's been like life-giving for me, and the way it's been life-giving for them as well. So that's been really fun. So we're meeting on Mondays and Tuesdays at 10, which is not something we'd ever be able to do like during the normal life, but that's awesome. That's been fun.
Yeah, my kids, not to make, you know, not to assume that my kids are anywhere normal children. If you've met them, you know that they're not. But at least my fourth grader really likes the gender, like when the girls and boys are all together, he's just like, I'm out. But when it's his little buddies, and they have something to talk about, they can be on forever.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Thanks.
What else? What else has been happening? Or maybe what is something that that's sort of on top of your sort of question list, or something that you're trying to mull around?
I know.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Bibbs.
Go, Addie.
One thing we've been doing at Trinity is, well, Bibbs and I have been talking about this, and we've been talking about it as a staff, is like, do we have summer this year? Like, do we ever end what we're doing now and switch to a different season of the year, even though nothing will change for anybody at all. Except for our kids will have more free time and be even more bored than they already are. And so I know that Bibbs and I and all of us have been trying to figure out, like, some of our programming, some of the like novelty of it is that it's just for a season, and then how do you have a kickoff if you never ended it? And so there is some of that, like, you have to build hype around something to have everyone come back and welcome each other back, but then the continuity of continuing to offer programming. So I don't know if you guys have thoughts, and I know that I cut Bibbs off so Bibbs can go after me and ask her a question too. But that's what I've been struggling with.
I'm just curious if anybody has, I'm sure your email has been blowing up with it just as mine has with these virtual VBS programs that are being offered. Has anybody researched any of those yet?
I can't do it. I don't think it'll be anywhere close to the same doing VBS over digital. So I think we're choosing to just push ours like far back, and then maybe adapt and do something over like fall break if we have to, but like rather would do it more in like late July, August, but that's just my place. And Addie, so in other traditions, it's not as common for summers to power down. So like I worked at a Methodist church for 3 years, and our summers, I called it, it was a Canterbury United Methodist church, so I called it Camp Canterbury. I mean, we had like service projects and this and that and the other. We had like tons of activities because the parents are still going to be working, and they're still going to need something to do with their kids or teenagers or whatever age. And like those teenagers are still going to need to be able to like find ways to structure their day and their time. And so, maybe there's a space for smaller gatherings at some point when we're allowed to do that. Like you could break out and do little like, tiny groups or something. But, you can't it's easier with a larger church size because you can, in particular, because you have a greater mass theoretically to begin with. It is harder in smaller churches because it's just hard to get everyone together all at the same time. But in our current circumstance, like everyone's probably going to be around. Those are my thoughts.
I had thought about that too. Like, how do we help our families, children, adult, if the situation continues on, just marking the passage of time is going to be something critical, and that's what you're kind of wondering about, not just programmatically, but I think there's a pastoral edge to it that, that it just there's some need to be able to mark, the passage of time, beyond just, for kids, it is Camp Canterbury or going to Camp Rabbit for a week or being at LIT or doing this or doing that or going on vacations with your family. And those go away, I think there is a pastoral response to it, to not mark things by the end of the only thing that changes is your schoolwork's done. I think if that's the only thing that changes in people's life, I think the scale of disillusionment kind of skyrockets at that, right? So I think the questions is a really apt one. How do we help? And I don't have any solutions to it, but I'd love, Hannah, do you have some thoughts? You had your hand up.
Definitely do not have a solution. As soon as you said that, I was like, wait, no, that's not what I meant. We're kind of thinking through that same thing, Addie. And one of the things that we're kind of I say draft because we're really still drafting it, but one of the ideas that Lizzie, our youth intern, had was to celebrate kind of that transition period and to do like a big spirit week. And so have like, we're going to wrap up our traditional things that we've been doing at the end of May. And so we talked about kind of that first week after they're out of school to do something each day. So like, on Monday, we'll do a, Miss You Monday challenge, write a card to somebody that you miss. Tuesday, we're going to do a talent show. So submit a video, different things each week. Friday, do like a movie night, almost like you're doing like a week-long kind of experience. And then from there, we would transition into like a summer schedule. So changing kind of our offering times to be like a Monday, Wednesday type thing. So middle school Monday, something on Wednesday for high schoolers, and kind of create like a new routine, because we're trying to think of how you separate, like you said, like how can we separate the time that normally we would kind of end that season and go into a new one. So we're just thinking that. So I'm interested to hear what other people are doing. Times, I think Maggie, that was a great point. We've been thinking about times. So I'm interested to hear what people would think or what other ideas people had for summer. But that's just kind of where we're thinking if we have to move digital.
Yeah, Maggie.
I work with Hannah, but I'm adult ministry, and we are planning an adult. So normally our Sunday school would end on May 17th. That's the end of the series. So we came up with an Easter series, 4 weeks. Doesn't meet Mother's Day, so it's 4 sessions, and it will end on the 17th. And then you've got Memorial Day weekend and Pentecost. And so June 7th, 4 Sundays in June, we're going to do another session of Sunday school like we've been doing for adults. And I don't know, we just started a current events class, so I don't know if that'll go on. If Lillian and Thomas will lead that for us, then maybe we can keep going. Maybe that'll make her get her video back on there. What about during the week? I don't know. The Bible studies and everything always end during the summer. So we have a summer July book study that's already on the books, and we're just going to, be prepared to offer it during Zoom. But what else for the adults? I don't know. I'd like ideas. But we're just keeping it at those 4 blocks. So it's not, so they have a beginning and an end, I guess, kind of like you were saying, marking time. But we normally don't have Sunday school during the summer, any kind of programming like that on a Sunday.
Could we use Pentecost to help mark the seasons? Like do something for Pentecost and like recognize like there is both a change in our like normal calendar, but then something with like a fire on the screen or something, I feel like would help people to like mark the time. I don't know. We've missed like 4 different opportunities to use fire in youth ministry, and my kids are very upset about it.
There's a lot of feast days that happened at the end of the season of Easter that are hardly ever recognized in the big church. Ascension. When was the last time y'all celebrated Ascension? Because it's on Thursday. Well, Sue's did. Hold on, but so it's a good idea to look at that as a way to mark a transition. Suze, wait, Maggie, did you have something? You were trying to talk earlier.
Yeah, sorry. I have only ever Zoomed on my computer, and I'm on my phone and got a learning curve. But when we were talking about marking the seasons, one thing that I'm kind of working on is, so our Vacation Bible School was planned for the first week after school is out. And there's no way that I'm going to tell these parents that have trudged through the end of virtual school, like, all right, and now here's 3 hours of stuff for 4 days a week, the week you get out of all of this. So we're not doing that. We might schedule it for a tentative August date. But what I'm kind of leaning towards, because I can say this is what we're doing, is, okay, let me back up. This summer was supposed to be the first summer of a 4-year VBS thing that we've created. That was, this year was water, next year is going to be earth, fire, wind, or air. Yeah, air. And so what I'm thinking instead for the summer is that I'll deliver boxes of supplies to last for 2 weeks that include challenges and photo challenges, because our parents are really sort of competitive with one another sometimes, and I think we could get some social media engagement where, like, for having your child do this and flat Jesuses and things, and then depending on social distancing rules, refilling those boxes every 2 weeks, like going around Columbia to all the addresses where the boxes are and putting new things in them for the next 2 weeks, along with prompts. And I think it would be fun if there was stuff in the box, but not all the directions. And so it was like, well, on Wednesday, you're going to find out what you're doing with this rice or whatever is in the box. And also kind of making it holistic with challenging people to get outside and move their bodies, challenging people to read, things like that to mark the summer, like acknowledging you've got this new time and we're not making you do virtual school, but here are ways to nurture you, mind, body, soul. So that's kind of what I'm working on loosely right now.
Yeah, even how, engaging in different things like justice ministries and service components, things like that.
Oh, and I meant to include with that, since we had this 4-year VBS plan, I think it would be fun to do 2 weeks of the first year, 2 weeks of the second year, and just do all 4 in the summer and figure something else out for next year instead. So that's why I mentioned that to begin with.
Hey, Suze.
I was just going to follow up on the conversation about marking time, and to do a Pentecost celebration. We're going to create small groups who will have Zoom agape meals, and so families could gather as a small group to do an agape meal. And there's a really great liturgy for that has been provided from VTS's Lifelong Learning. You can find that there. And then Forward Movement has a really nice curriculum called Meet the Saints, which is very child-friendly. There's an adult component to that as well. And it's a really great resource for actually sort of leveraging our tradition as a way to mark time through the year. And I think right now that marking time is important. Who among us has not said, what day is it? What time is it? What month is it? So that, I just think that would be great. That's all.
Yeah, thanks. That's a really good idea. Gravit's trying to do, they have these things called the Big Delicious event. And so the head chef from Juniper, what's his name, Lillian?
Brandon.
Brandon, yeah. So they're doing something similar to that, where he's doing like instructional cooking type things. And that could be interesting to put people into small groups, and then folks are kind of cooking meals together as they're sort of doing that. And particularly if you're able to incorporate sort of a Pentecost celebration, so there's the gathering of the people celebrating the passing of the life of the church. In the life of the church. That's a really neat idea. And so the point I bring up about Gravit is that that might be a launching off pad, something that you can check out. They're going to send a bunch of you know, a grocery list, and then he's going to do the demonstration cooking, and it looks like fun. If y'all don't do it, I'll tell you about it. I'm looking forward to doing something like that. Be interesting. So we have just a little bit of time left. Anybody else have something? Any thoughts about changing seasons or virtual VBS, or maybe one other topic, and then we might need to consider wrapping it up for this session.
Is that, Jimmy, is that Camp Grab It things, that's just one night though? Or is that a series?
Yeah, so it's a one-off. You go to campgrabit.org and sign up for it. It's actually, rather than it being a live event, like they'll produce it and premiere it on like May 4th. So Monday or Tuesday. And then you could just do it anytime you want. You could do the appetizer or salad, whatever, on one night, or things like that. So it just I offer that to you as sort of a resource that you could use and adapt to, particularly with Sue's sort of trial with them doing that small group stuff. Could add another layer, and you could see something happen live, or live-ish.
Thanks.
Yeah. Laura, hey.
Hey, this is Laura from the Church of the Advent. We actually are going to do the virtual VBS, but we're only going to have it last an hour, and we're doing our own. We're going to use kind of a Mr. Rogers theme with Welcome to the Neighborhood. And we're actually going to have chefs that are members of our church that have, that's going to be the snack. They're going to actually lead the parents through creating a snack for the part of VBS where you have your snack. But we're thinking each little segment's not going to last but about 8 to 10 minutes. And we've gotten an artist who is he does primarily huge murals, and he's going to do something with faith in the center of it. And then he's going to kind of create this canvas that, we'll either deliver the canvas to the families or have them pick up their supplies. But so we are, in the process of developing that. And if anybody decides they would like to try a virtual VBS that's shorter, that's not 3 hours, I know we'll be happy to share any of those ideas as we're developing them with you all. And Debbie, I'm sorry, I was just going to say, and Debbie, I will tell you that Allison's planning to get in touch with you and St. Matthew's to participate with us. Go ahead, Jimmy, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying, once it's sort of in a final stage, please share it. We'll,
sure.
If you don't mind, we can put it
No, we'd be glad to. Yeah.
Beside all the other good stuff that's kind of being generated. Well, any last words or questions or thoughts? Caitlin, was there anything that we wanted to talk about specific? I can't remember.
Not that I recall. I did sit in on the Diocesan Youth Workers Zoom call yesterday. If you want me to share anything from that.
Yeah, maybe just a highlight or two. That might be helpful.
Yeah. So one of the things that we focused on yesterday was like transitions for students. So primarily high school seniors that are graduating, but then also recognizing middle schoolers moving up into high schoolers. And I know, especially for us in this diocese, having the fifth grade bridge retreat that didn't happen, recognizing that transition as well. And so that was kind of the theme of yesterday's conversation. Keeping in mind that we need to keep those other transitions in focus, even while we're focusing on our graduating seniors. Some of the conversation turned to like, whenever you're planning, if you're planning some sort of senior recognition, actually including the seniors in the process, seeing what would be fruitful and meaningful for them, because not everybody has the same high school experience, and not everybody is, you know, lamenting the lack of high school graduation or the end of high school in the same way. Some people might not have had a great high school experience and are grateful that it's over. And so the continued emphasis on high school graduation might not be helpful for them. So just really getting in touch with what your seniors are needing and what they've missed from their high school experience, and if they've already moved past it, or if there are some pieces that they're wanting to hold on to and share with each other and reflect on. So making sure that it's a participatory process. And then a takeaway for me, and this is more of like an abstract idea, but something that I thought was really important to keep in focus, is one of the people on the call. If you know Bronwyn Sco, she's like the youth ministries director at 815 in the larger church, and she said something about how can we help build resilience instead of perpetuating victimhood when it comes to like the loss of normalcy, the loss of our like our pre-existing expectations about church and things like that. You know, how do we let go of those expectations and let go of the idea of like, well, this was taken away from me, and turn that into a resilience building exercise. So I encourage y'all to think on that a little bit. That's helpful for you. I know it was helpful for me. Yeah.
Thanks, Kate. Any last things before we head out?
Does
Carol.
this chat here how do I save that, or will it be?
Save it, Carol, and then I'll send out kind of like a condensed like set of links in the notes.
Thank you so much.
And we recorded this too, like we talked about at the beginning. So unless there's anybody that would rather wish this not be on, it'll be available on our EDUSC website as well. But we can also send you it privately as well if we end up not posting it. Anything else? Any questions? So we'll intend to do this right now. We have another one scheduled for May 13th at the same time, 1 o'clock. And we intend on continuing to offer these until I don't want them. So, or as long as they're fruitful and helpful. If y'all have any feedback with this, the format of our conversations, things like that, topics of conversation, what you'd like to do, it's welcome. Also, this is a place happy. You know, we've had folks like Eden Lewis from Western North Carolina come, and so people are welcome. If you have people outside the diocese that would like to participate in these conversations, the more the merrier. And if we have too many to do a conversation, we can be creative and flexible. So anyway, take care. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Feel free to reach out to Caitlin and I if you have any questions or thoughts, resources, anything. I'm happy to put them up and continue to build upon the resource list that edusc.org. Anyway, y'all take care. Thanks for being on. And if you're going to be on the pastoral call, we'll see you in 8 minutes. If not, see you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Bye, y'all.